Hello everybody and welcome back. It is good to talk to all of you again today, and today I'm going to be showing a Shimakaze replay from Echelon 2K on Warrior's Path. Now you might have noticed that recently I haven't really been doing all that many user submitted replays, and you might be asking why that is the case. And truth be told, I've just been having an issue with the way maybe I approach it, maybe just like the format. Wasn't too happy with it, and it's taken me a little while to sort of figure out what I would do to make it a little bit better. One of the other things you probably noticed is I don't really tend to do a lot of lower tier replays, right? You don't really see tier 6 replays, even though I really want to do them. Sometimes I don't, because you have battles where somebody does good in tier 6 and you're just like, well, look at the enemy team and look what they did. And so I wasn't really sure if I should be showing replays like that. Just overall, the format didn't really work at the time, but sort of thought of something new, so gonna give it a try, and this is kind of the trial, right? So Echelon 2K starts off the battle in a Shimakaze going towards A. It is an aggressive move, but it is perfectly possible for Echelon to do this, namely because he is running RPF on his Shimakaze, not likely to get ambushed. Now, the enemy destroyer that's being tracked right now makes a series of really big blunders. I mean, you know that there's a ship, most likely a destroyer, on the A cap. You know he's there. You're being located, which probably tells you that, yeah, you're the one being tracked, and yet you still stumble into the cap, basically when you're at a full-on disadvantage. The gearing does it, and not only that, but he also puts himself in a very bad position. Look at that. He's caught literally between a rock and a hard place, and nowhere to really go. Eats a Shimakaze torpedo and dies. Of course, he did take a bunch of shell damage as well. With the main counter in this area gone, in the form of that gearing, Echelon can now set up for really deadly torpedo attacks. The enemy team, of course, well, they're going to be in trouble quite soon. They've lost the ship that was going to provide them with potentially that early warning about enemy destroyers. Lost that. And of course now they're sort of caught again between a little bit of a rock and a hard place. I mean, yeah, they could all probably fall back and retreat and go somewhere else, but in that case they'll just freely give up A. For Echelon, you can already see where this is going, right? He's going to move into a flanking position, and he's going to start sending torpedoes into the area where the Neptune is and where the Bismarck might be in a little while. Take a look at the Neptune, and you can see where the Neptune's problems begin. On one side you've got cruisers, you've got battleships, and on the other side you've got a Shimakaze. I mean, that is just really bad news for you, because you pretty much have to stay in a bow-on angle position or try to keep yourself somewhat safe. But on the other hand, you can't really turn to avoid torpedoes, so of course, look at what Echelon does. Puts 2 waves of torpedoes into the smoke, and you know who's going to be paying that price. That Neptune. I mean, it's a foregone conclusion unless that Neptune decides to somehow execute some kind of ballsy Royal Navy cruiser maneuver, but somewhat unlikely is my take on that. Torpedoes entering the smoke right about now. There you go. 2 hits, a dead Neptune. Torpedoes continuing forward, hit 2 more onto that Bismarck. Bismarck is hurting a little bit there as well. Now Echelon, of course, waiting for torpedoes to reload, starts to fall back just a little bit. Again, keeping outside of the detect range, right? Had he kept going forward and not paying attention, could have run into that Yamato, and then he would have been caught in a somewhat awkward position. So far, the strategy and the current use of the tactics to fire torpedoes from a flanking position is working out well. Although, there's not all that much teamwork happening yet. I guess I would have preferred to see maybe a little bit more cross-torping action, potentially. Maybe from the destroyer that's in Echelon's division, but I mean, that destroyer does have to keep himself safe as well, so he's fallen back. 2 additional torpedo hits, so far racking up that damage. So, on the damage front, doing very well. Positionally and tactically speaking, Echelon's, well, he's done good. He's put himself into positions where he is a major threat, and he's definitely been doing his share of the work on the enemy team. Wow, enemy Bismarck and Neptune, both of them that went into that cap, they're both dead. Edinburgh taking down the Bismarck, and the Kurfürst, I believe, taking down the Neptune. Alright, so Echelon continuing to do his job. I mean, both these enemy battleships, the Yamato and the Kurfürst here, well, they've lost pretty much all of the supporting cast, and they are, well, they're in a bit of trouble, and they're trying to potentially regroup, maybe do something else, of course. Another wave of torpedoes. Yamato is going to eat one here and take a little bit of flooding as well, although the Kurfürst is relatively safe. Echelon now, as you can see, is moving back towards the cap area, ready to form up on his division mate and of course continue to harass these two battleships with torpedoes. One pretty cool little, I'm guessing maybe it's a strategy, maybe it's a tactic, whichever one you want to call there, that I see Echelon doing is that you'll see him, what he does is he'll go in one direction, he'll fire torpedoes in that one direction, and then he'll circle around and double back, and then he'll get onto a flank where the battleships aren't expecting him to be, because they're thinking that he's continued to go potentially in the other direction, and that does at times allow him to get these very nice shots in with his torpedoes, and the battleships just aren't expecting that. And of course, you know, especially at tier 10, if as a battleship player you get caught that much off guard when it comes to torpedoes, you're eating them, and that is going to be painful to take, you know, Shima torpedoes into the side. So take a look at the Yamato. You'll see the Yamato is going the other way, thinks that potentially the Shima is not on this side, and of course Echelon dumps two waves of torpedoes into his path. And yeah, you can sort of figure what the end of this torpedo salvo is going to look like. Yamato is pretty much completely unaware that danger is coming from this side. Again, my guess is he was sort of expecting danger to come from the other side and not this one. So not really prepared, and so take a look at these torpedo hits here. There is two, and one extra wave coming in, and dead Yamato. And that would be kill number 3 on 158,000 damage. Alright, so enemy Kurfürst, only major ship left here, so Echelon is going to get over there. Try to do something about that Kurfürst, but objective, get in there, take the A cap. His division mate is still over there in the Z-52, if I remember correctly. And if the two of them work together, I mean, this Kurfürst can be taken down quite easily. You know, all you got to do is get him into a cross drop, and unfortunately, if you know you're a battleship and you get cross dropped by two destroyers, if done correctly, there's very little you can do. You can only defend yourself from one side, and unlike aircraft torpedoes, destroyer torpedoes, especially Shima torpedoes, those really do have a tendency of hurting. Now, as Echelon heads towards the A cap, he's got the enemy Kurfürst RPF'd, and I wonder if that particular RPF located indicator actually messes with that Kurfürst, because he does know where Echelon is. I mean, the mini-map should indicate where Echelon was last spotted, because an aircraft spotted him like right here, and it was, you know, he was spotted a little bit earlier too, so the Kurfürst should know that the Shimakaze is behind him. But I'm wondering if the reason why he actually does what he does, which is actually turn and try to get behind the island in front of him, is because he thinks that there's actually something closer to him with RPF right there, right? And so because he's actually afraid of there being a DD there, he tries to get behind the island, making himself a very, very easy target for Echelon, who dumps two waves of torpedoes into the Kurfürst's path. The Z-52 in Echelon's division fires torpedoes from the other side. Now this is pretty damn good teamwork. I mean, whether it is that RPF sort of misleading that Kurfürst or whatnot, this torpedo salvo is absolutely glorious. The two torpedo salvos come together at roughly the same time, and no chance at all for that Kurfürst. Takes 4 torpedo hits in total. I think 1 from the Z-52, takes 3 more from Echelon, and there is kill number 4. Currently sitting on 196,000 damage. With all enemy forces now eliminated at the A cap, Echelon is going to go ahead and take the A cap. I am going to speed this up because the next little part is pretty boring. Nothing really happens. Echelon and his division mate are going to basically take this cap and move towards the B cap. As you can tell right now, there are enemy ships over at B that is contesting that cap. Most likely that gearing and whichever other ship might be in that area. So Echelon and his division mate moving into that area, hopefully to do something about the B cap and maybe take it back for his team. Enemy Bismarck appears in the distance. That Bismarck, again, not in the world's best position for a battleship. Take a look at where he is. Sort of nice tight quarters with lots of islands, which means you're really setting yourself up for an attack by destroyers. If you're in a Bismarck, you probably don't want to be caught in that area. Echelon and the Z-52 both make it onto the cap area. Enemy destroyer right now should have noticed that the cap has been frozen, knows that there must be some kind of opposition. Z-52 actually gets spotted, so now that enemy destroyer has to at least know that there is a very low HP enemy DD over here. Probably come out and should probably take care of the Z-52. I mean, that would probably be the smart thing to do. Anyways, Echelon moving forward. He knows where that Bismarck is going, at least the general sort of direction. If I was the Bismarck right now, probably be trying to make it through that gap right there around sort of E and F 7, 8. I'd be trying to get through there as quickly as possible and get into C cap. Echelon comes out, dumps 2 waves of torpedoes into the area. Doesn't know where the Bismarck is exactly, but he's hoping for some luck. That scout plane passing over while it was going away, so most likely didn't spot these torpedoes. So 3 waves of torpedoes. And the Bismarck just, oh my god, what are you doing here? Totally in the wrong position, totally in the wrong place. Absolutely no idea why the Bismarck was there. Gets himself into a very, very awkward position, eats 2 torpedoes, gets flooded, gets set on fire. Bismarck is not exactly having the best day of his life right now. Echelon gets his smoke off and starts engaging with guns a little bit, hoping to get maybe a fire, maybe to get some additional fire damage there. 2 waves of gearing torpedoes inbound, but misses every enemy ship. Echelon, well, still kind of stuck on this island. I mean, yeah, he seems to have professionally parked himself very, very nicely up against the island here. But I mean, we can forgive him, right? He's done 236,000 damage so far, so I guess we can forgive him for that. Z-52 got spotted, and, well, with that little HP, Bismarck takes him down. Echelon finally backs himself a little bit, you know, into the smoke, still not spotted, so that's good. Manages to get himself free from the island. Waits for his torpedoes to reload, and, well, fires into sort of the gap, hoping maybe he's going to tag the gearing that's over here. I mean, he has to know that there's a gearing here, right? Plus the RPF is kind of saying, hey, there's something in this direction. So, gets out, fires off his guns, has an HP advantage over the gearing. His guns are actually reloading reasonably quickly. Decides to go for the torpedoes. I don't know if that's the best thing to have done, but, I mean, personally, I would have just stuck with guns. Still, with 1,440 HP left, the gearing actually detonates him, so maybe torpedo's not such a bad decision, as the gearing actually gets killed by that last torpedo salvo. So RNG's is playing RNG's role and deciding fights in its own very unique way. Alright, so let's rate the battle. First of all, damage. 242,500 damage. Very, very good damage number on the Shimakaze. It's not like 300,000 plus crazy damage numbers, but very, very good numbers nonetheless. So, solid 4 stars for damage. Tactics and strategy on Echelon's part, overall, I thought was very, very good. Many of the plays he made were very sound in terms of positioning. So, nice, good 5 stars there. Teamwork was a little bit limited at times, although for that really nice cross drop on that Curvest, I think I would still give you a pretty respectable 3 stars. Unfortunately, Shimakaze battles, the wow factor sometimes just isn't really there, so 1 star for wow, I mean, that's something, right? RNG's factor, well, you did get detonated, except it wasn't really that bad since you're already kind of dead. So in this case, getting that RNG detonation meant you got 10 extra detonation flags. So that's a positive. And finally, the enemy team. That gearing at the beginning, wandering into cap, getting himself killed, screwing up the rest of his team. Enemy team, 3 turds out of 5. Anyways, folks, I'm also going to give you the final result screen for Echelon as well. Aside from all that, what do you think? Like the new rating system format thingamabob? If you do, let me know in the comment section below. If you think I got the ratings wrong, you can let me know about that too. Aside from all that, folks, hope you all have a good one. Take care, and I'll talk to all of you again soon.